Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. It's 10 o'clock on a Thursday, and I'm just heading down to the harbour here to do a book summary, a walk and talk. And what I thought I'd do is just start up here at Circular Quay. You can maybe be able to see there, it's overcast. It's an autumn day here. A little bit of a breeze, so we'll go down Waterway and see how things are down there. And what are we going to talk about today? Well, today I plan to go through a book summary entitled "Start Where You Are." How appropriate is that? A book summary entitled "Start Where You Are" by Pema Chodron. Pema Chodron has a book penned entitled "Start Where You Are," and I guess we're going to start where we are. So, what's this book all about? This is a wonderful book, and it talks about the importance of making the most of the small moments in your life, and not just spending all of your time preparing and waiting for the big moments, because the big moments are far and few between, but the small moments are potentially everywhere, where you can just be present and make the most of your surroundings and get some enjoyment out of your life, rather than waiting for tomorrow, which may never come. Anyway, so the first structured point to come out of this book is that you'll be happier when you learn to cherish the little moments in life and stop being so damn serious. It takes us a while to mature and to grow up, and to realise that life isn't necessarily a journey where we need to be serious all the time. If anything, you probably need to back off and be less serious in order to make the most of what we have available to us, and not to be constantly stressed and disappointed, because we often get bogged down with all that we have to do, all we have to think about, and all that we have to wade through on a daily basis, because we're constantly making promises to ourselves and promises to others, which are creating a heap of stressful expectations. So the big point, or the big call to action, is that we need to assess the promises that we're constantly making, and to figure out whether or not those promises are worthwhile keeping or making in the first place. So with all of these promises, with all of these expectations that we're creating, we feel the fear and anxiety, not for the things that we're going to do, but for the things that we're not going to be able to do, and for the actions that we left undone. Because the bottom line is that the brain has only so many things that it can deal with, process and manage. And if you've got a lot of things left undone sitting in your mind, it's going to cause stress, it's going to cause anxiety, and you're going to be unfulfilled, I guess is the best way of describing it. Not only unfulfilled, but also exhausted, as opposed to excited. Because when it's all said and done, and you'll learn this with time, life is a bunch of little moments, and your experience depends on whether you decide to see them with joy or with burden. So sometimes we just need to let every minute, every moment be, and make the most of every moment by being present, because they all compound, they're all part of a greater whole. And if we take a holistic look at life, then everything that comes our way is part of the total experience. So we just basically need to embrace it and not push back, let it flow, let it flow, let it flow, as we have that beautiful song from Frozen. and to enjoy each and every moment. The next structured point that comes out of this book is that sometimes we need to empty ourselves because emptiness is good. So what is emptiness? The author tries to explain emptiness, and emptiness from a positive perspective is a sense of calm, a sense of peace. Some people describe it as nirvana, but it's a place where you go and a feeling that you get where you're free from labels, you're free from judgments, which end up disrupting our peace. So the labels, the stories that we say to ourselves, the judgments, all of those things all combine to disrupt our peace. So the key message from this book is to try and find peace, and to find peace, according to the author, we need to spend some time with emptiness, emptying ourselves, emptying our mind of everything, wherever possible. And from a Christian perspective, this is a very, very important point, and I'll just touch on it very, very briefly. I won't spend too much time talking about it. But the art of prayer, according to the Christian tradition, is where you basically empty yourself of your challenges, your problems, and you delegate them. You delegate them to Jesus, you delegate them to God, to be able to handle them on your behalf, and then basically you do whatever you need to do in order to be in the present, enjoy the moment, live the moment, and allow God to work His glory, so to speak. Because when we look back over our lives and we express and feel anger, it's important to understand that anger is frustration at nothing, because nothing really is worth being angry about or frustrated about, because all it does is causes disruption to your calm and to your peace. Because when it's all said and done, and you'll notice this because there are certain people who are very artful at it, we make up reasons. We tend to invent and make up reasons to make us angry. But really, these reasons don't quite exist in reality. They are only in our heads. Anyway, it's just starting to sprinkle, so I'll make my way to wharf number 6 to get out of the elements, because I don't want to get water on my notes and on my phone. So we'll keep on chatting. Just give me a second and I'll get under cover. It's amazing how it didn't take long for this shower to start. But here we are, we're in wharf number 6, so I can continue to talk freely without being sprinkled with rain. Not that it's going to make a difference. So that's about it. So that point there, so it's all about emptying yourself. And I learned when I was a young boy, when I learned how to swim, the importance of emptying your lungs when you're swimming before you're taking another breath. Because the more you empty your lungs, the bigger the breath you can take in. When I was small and I was learning how to swim, I'd be taking shallow breaths, and I'd always be breathless, and I didn't know why. Whereas the swimming coach reminded me that the important thing is when you're swimming to blow out all the air in your lungs, and by blowing out all the air in your lungs, you create a vacuum, and by creating that vacuum, what you do is you provide yourself with an ability then to suck in all the air, and by sucking in all the air, you fill your lungs and your body is oxygenated, which is a lovely sort of lesson that I learned early in life. And the same thing happens, as we said before, with our bodies, with our spirits, with everything. Now, we just need to spend some time where we empty ourselves, and once you empty yourself, you then make yourself available to other wonderful experiences to become present and manifest themselves in your life. So the author here talks about stop getting stuck in your stories, because a lot of people, it's just unbelievable. You speak to people and you may see them in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, and they're stuck in the same old story. They're stuck in the same old story about a partner who let them down, or whose parents did this or somebody did that. And it's just a non-stop whinge fest, which is so depressing and so debilitating and so disempowering. So the author reminds us, wherever possible, stop getting stuck in your stories, and you'll see it's all okay to look foolish if you want to have a better life. So just accept what's happened, just accept those things that have happened, and don't worry. Who cares? Just get on with your life. So like it or not, we're all constantly telling ourselves stories over and over again. So the important thing from this author is to shape those stories and make sure that the stories that you choose to tell are empowering stories. The ones that you say about yourself, and what you'll do and who you are and what you won't do. Make sure that those stories that you remind yourself of are stories that you've thought about, that you've structured, that you've penned yourself, and you haven't what's the word I'm looking for, inherited them from somebody else. Because as we know, there are a lot of people around us who are gaslighters, and it's a term that I just learnt recently from a friend of mine, where you've got people who will gaslight and say things to basically make you feel bad, make you feel worthless, make you feel incompetent, incapable, and they'll just try and wear you down and be so negative that you become dependent upon them, and that you can't turn to anybody else because you just think your self-esteem is just so damaged that you don't have faith in anything or anybody. So be very, very careful with the stories that you get stuck in, as the author said here, and make sure that the stories that you have are the ones that you've created for yourself and not ones that others have created for you, which are disempowering and painful. And the other thing is we need to consider letting go of your backstories. Don't worry about those backstories. Create a new story. Create your now story. Create your now story, which will contribute to your tomorrow story. And you have permission. You have my permission to be whoever you want to be, and to do whatever you want to do, and have no boundaries anymore. There's no need to worry about looking foolish. There's no more to worry about other people's expectations. Because when you remove yourself, when you release yourself from the chains, from the slavery of expectation, then you release yourself from anxiety. And because at the end of the day, the anxiety that we have is that we fear that we're going to fall short of the expectations that usually others have foisted upon us. So that's about it. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. I hope you're getting some value out of it as much as I'm getting value out of it myself. I don't get very much feedback anymore, but it's not going to stop me continuing what I'm continuing doing, because I enjoy it. It allows me to express myself. It allows me to create a library of resources that others may be able to use at some later date. I don't know if my children, my grandchildren, my wife Paula, friends and family will ever listen to these or look at these, but what I really enjoy is having a library, an inventory of personal development material that I've been able to generate through love. I've not been forced to do this. I've done it because I wanted to do this, and hopefully at some point in time others will enjoy listening to these messages, and hopefully these messages may one day become the wind beneath our wings and help us to live, learn and pass it on. So thanks again, and I'll be coming back to you in a little while, in another hour or two on my lunch break, where I'll go through another book summary, another lesson. We'll go on another volta, another walk and talk, and see where it takes us. Because there's never been a book that I've opened where I haven't learned something new and where I haven't been able to join a dot or two to get closer to learning more about what makes me tick. Anyway, thank you very much, and we'll chat again shortly. Yassas from Jim on Jim's 5am Club from wharf number 6 down here at Circular Quay on this overcast but beautiful Sydney autumn day. Bye for now. Good luck ya.